Can you believe how this garden has grown this year?
It's just exploded.
It's just what a difference a year makes. Last year we were gone for a couple of weeks and it was dry as a bone. We had a drought. People were coming here to water almost every day. We did salvage some stuff and we were able to grow things. This year we can't stop anything from growing except what the deer eat first, but it's just remarkable.
Great.
So now, guess what happens?
It's time for picking.
Time to pick. We got a lot of stuff to pick here. We've got beans like crazy, and we have beets that have to be thinned out, and we can make beet greens, and we can start freezing and canning beets. We've got red cabbage, rotkohl, and the tomatoes are coming along gangbusters. They're growing great. We're going to have to can some tomatoes. Peppers, you've got quite a few to pick, but they got to be frozen. And believe me, that saves a lot of money in a year's time.
It is so convenient to just chop them up and freeze them and pull them out as I need them.
And what's one of your favorite things to have in the garden?
Sunflowers.
And how are they doing?
Well, the ones the deer haven't eaten, they're doing great.
That's right. And one thing we learned, we planted 2 varieties of sunflowers. One, the deer don't touch at all, and the other, they love to just mow down. So we'll have to plant just the one variety next year because we're not going to get rid of the deer anytime soon.
They're fun to watch in the yard, but not in the garden.
Yeah. So let's get started. Well, that was a pretty good haul out in the garden, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, it's a little hot sometimes picking out there in the sun, but it's got to be done when it's got to be done. So,
very true.
That's right. We got a lot of peppers. We got a whole bunch of beans we're going to have to do. I got some of the beets, and I got a lot more to pull out. But I thought, along with showing people, the garden and how well it's growing, and the different things we have in it, and how we go about picking stuff, I think probably be a good idea to show them how to process some of this stuff too.
Oh, sure.
And I thought, what should we start with?
The easiest.
The easiest, and those are the peppers, yeah. I'm going to turn this over to you because you are the pepper expert.
Sure.
You always take care of the peppers. So what are we going to do here with these?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take them over to the sink and we're going to rinse them off so that we get the dirt off them.
That's right. We don't have to worry about pesticides here because we don't use those. It's just to get some of the garden dirt off.
Definitely. Then we'll come back and we will cut them up and put them into plastic bags, Ziploc bags, and then they go in the freezer to be used as needed. I processed some earlier this week and I cut them up in small little pieces. Those are my pizza peppers, if you will.
So those were diced.
Right. Thank you, diced. And these we're going to cut up, and I'm going to cut up in big chunks. And so that way, if I need strips or something else for a specific thing I'm going to make, then I can pull that bag out. So it's nice to have the 2 different sizes to work with, and it's wonderful to have them in the freezer over the winter. You just pull them out as needed. Don't have to worry about getting them on the grocery list.
And the diced ones work great when they make chili in the winter.
Oh, very true. So I will head over to the sink.
All right.
So here we go. Just nice cold tap water, and just rinse over them and get all the dirt off. And these are such unique shapes this year that they're a little tricky. So you make sure when we get done here, we'll drain the water off so that we don't have a big puddle over there.
Yeah, we've never tried this variety before.
Yeah, we're not going to.
No, they're kind of odd shape.
No, but they still taste good.
They taste
like
great,
peppers.
yep.
So it's just a matter of cutting them up. That's just the tricky part. It's just a little different. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we'll go ahead, and I'm sure everybody has their own way of processing a pepper, but I just cut the top off And I cut the bottom off and toss that into the bucket, which is nice to have
Yeah. Stem, basically.
to put your things in. And I keep these because they work great in the, like your chili or other things. You don't have to toss that. Some people do, some people don't. Anyway, so then I clean it up and clean it out. And that's it. That, and then I just go ahead and get it all over again. Anyway, through the magic of video, then you have a clean one all out like this. And then I just take it and I cut it up in the big chunks for this one. So we'll leave it like that. And let's leave. Okay. And then go ahead and pick up a plastic bag. Oh, we'll show you. This one. Pick up a plastic bag, put it in there, and then once it's full, like I want it to be, then I'll take it out and put it in the freezer. And I put what it is inside it and the date, or the year actually. And that's it. There we go.
And they're also very handy to use when you need them. Now that they're all bagged up, you just take this bag out of the freezer, open it up. Let's say you just need a couple for something. They'll be frozen. You take them out, run them under some cold tap water for a few seconds, and that'll thaw them right out, and they're ready to slice up whatever thickness you want. You can even dice them then and use them. So they're very easy to use once they are frozen.
And it's nice that you get them just a little thawed even, and they're easier to cut too.
That's right.
Definitely.
So just another tip when it comes time to use them. And this year all we grew were the green peppers, and granted, like we said, they're a little bit odd shape. We're not going to plant that kind again. And we didn't get any red peppers or any yellow peppers this year.
Nope.
Which looking back, I don't know why we didn't do that, but they're nice to have too. But even still, having the green peppers is going to be great, because I don't know if you've priced peppers in the store lately, but they are very expensive. Every time you want to grab a pepper for something, you got to think twice. These cost almost nothing to grow. Just get a couple of plants, put them in, and they're fresh. They taste great. You know where they came from. So if you've got a garden and you've got freezer space, give this a try. I think you'll be delighted with what turns out.
So what's our new adventure today?
We have to take care of all of these beans we picked, and you can bet there are a bunch more out there to pick again. There were a lot of flowers, a couple of rows of beans, and you get a lot of beans. If you've watched our video of the garden, you saw how many beans we've got planted. Well, this is what it gives you. And
just to start,
we'll have more.
Definitely.
And to do this, you can't get much easier than freezing beans. Now, the peppers were easy. This is a little more involved, but it's still pretty easy. Freezing beans, I'm going to be washing these up in the sink just to get sand and grit off of them, because they were picked in the garden. And once again, there are no pesticides on here. Just a little bit of grit from the garden. Got to have a pan of boiling water where you blanch these beans for a couple of minutes before you drain them off. Put them out on a towel to cool a little bit, and put them into a freezer bag.
And it's nice to go to the freezer and pull them out and use
That's
them.
right. And they're easy to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is rinse these off. We'll go through that. It's pretty easy. Then we have to snap the beans. And why do we snap the beans?
Tell us, why do we have to snap the beans?
When you snap beans, and these are called snap beans for a reason, you snap the ends off, then you snap them into the length you want. They end up just tasting better than if you try to cut them with a knife, and it's a lot faster. And I can recall many years ago, what do you suppose I was doing this time of the year with Mom and Grandma?
Right, you were snapping beans.
I was sitting at the table snapping beans. Yep. 6-7-year-old kids snapping beans. So that's the process. We're going to go through it. And if you haven't done this before, maybe you'll pick something up, and maybe you'll just bring back memories of doing this as a kid. So let's get started. I filled the sink about half full with water and put some beans in there. Gives me just enough where I can move them around. That'll wash them off. And one thing to remember is you don't want to do this until you're ready to process the beans. Because if you get them wet and try to store them, they'll get what we call rust on them. It's not good. So you want to leave them dry in a bag so they don't dehydrate in your refrigerator until you're ready to use them. And again, that's only for a couple of days. Then rinse them off, pull them out of here. I just put them in a colander, let them drain for a little bit so you don't have a real wet mess to work with. And just keep doing that until they're all rinsed off. And then you can move on to the next step. And what I do is I'm letting them dry. As they dry enough, I just put them in a big plastic bowl, set them off to the side, and then take them out of the bowl as I need them to get them snapped and blanched. I've rinsed a couple of bags of beans and I'm going to start snapping them. And that's a real easy process. Snap the ends off. And you want your beans, about inch to inch and a half long. You just got to get into a rhythm. I snap the ends off, snap them in the length I want, throw them in the pan there to put them into the boiling water once I get this full to blanch them. So I will work on this until I get that full, and by then my water should be boiling here on the big burner and we'll be ready to blanch. My strainer basket that goes into this Dutch oven is full. I don't want any more than that in there. It's full up to the top. So I'm ready to set it into the water that's boiling here. Put the cover on to keep the heat in, and we're going to blanch those for 3 minutes. So you can watch the clock or use whatever timer you've got and pull them out when the 3 minutes are up. Our 3 minutes are up. I'm going to take the lid off. I like to use tongs, use some kind of utensil to get underneath. Pick up the handles here. If you're dealing with boiling water and the metal's pretty hot, hold that over the water just for a little bit to get the bulk of the water drained off. And bring it over with a nice towel, just a terry type towel. And dump the beans out on there to cool and dry off a little bit. And then in a few minutes we'll be ready to put them in a plastic bag and slide them into the freezer. Got a lot going on today. Had to make bread, so that's sitting there ready to go. And we've got a batch of yogurt cooking because we ran out of yogurt. But it's a perfect day for that. Kind of windy, cool outside, overcast, so let's take care of this stuff. The beans have cooled quite a bit. A little warm, but that's fine. I'm going to put them in a quart freezer bag, a Ziploc freezer bag. Get them rolled together here a little bit so they're easier to grab. That's about all I want in there because I want to be able to lay it somewhat flat in the freezer rather than be all bunched up. Now here's the trick to get the air out of the bag. Take a straw, put it in the side, close the Ziploc top right up to the point where the straw goes in. pull the air out with a straw and push the seal shut, and now you have the air out of the bag. That's very important when you freeze these so they don't get freezer burn. I'll write the date on here, put it in the freezer, and we will have beans all winter. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, I don't have a garden, so what good does this do me? Well, this time of the year, many of you will have available farmers markets, and the farmers market will probably have someone there or a couple of people with lots of fresh beans. So get a couple of bags of beans from them. They're probably going to be priced reasonably. They're going to be fresh, and then go through this process to freeze them for the winter. Then you know that you've got good farm-grown produce. I hope this helped. If you've enjoyed watching this video on how to pick and process green peppers and beans, easy things to do, then click like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to have a couple more videos coming up on harvesting the garden. We've got sweet corn coming yet. I'm going to have to take care of some beets, and I'm going to do some pickling when I take care of the cucumbers and make dill pickles. And that's an interesting process to do and watch as well. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.